Welcome back to the second episode of Mirror Talks. Here we are being consistent. How about that? We are here in front of our mirror vanity, which we're going to do a lot of our podcasts besides when we have a guest, which some of our moms are coming back for vacation and they're going to be on pretty soon. But second episode of being consistent, and we are here in a frigid Tennessee. Well, it's not as cold as we were told it was going to be. We were told it was going to be a lot more snow and a lot more cold, but we still got snow. We still got cold. We got to watch it coming down Friday, which was absolutely beautiful. And my kids were out of school Friday, and they're actually going to be out of school tomorrow. So some parents are excited about that. Some parents aren't. I'm a little bit up in the air because we just come off of a long break, but I do enjoy the time I spent with them. So going into this episode, we got a lot getting ready to come up. We've got a lot of episodes getting ready to come up. We've got a lot of cool things getting ready to come up. There's going to be a lot of times I'm here in front of this mirror, but we're going to talk about a lot of things. We got the inauguration coming up here in January, another presidential inauguration. No matter which side you're on, it's happening either way. That's getting ready to come up. We've had so much going on in the world. We've had so much craziness with what's happening in New Orleans and Vegas, and then the fire in California. Prayers for them. It's just been a lot going on in our country, and I just hope and pray that we can find some peace and unity in this, and that people that are suffering can kind of, just start to feel a little bit of relief. I mean, it's been a lot. I don't know how I feel about these headphones, but I can hear that I'm not echoing like I was the first one, so yay for that. So again, this is going to be a shorter episode, but here we are being consistent again, not giving up on what we said we were going to do. So heck yeah for that. I'm super excited about it. Like I said, it's a Sunday evening. We're wrapping things up from a busy weekend. My son just got his first apartment and is moved into that this weekend, turned 19, my oldest one. So yay for him, Grayson, if you're listening. I'm so proud of you. And a lot going on, but today's topic is going to be TikTok. I mean, this is all over our news feeds. It's all over TikTok platform. I mean, what do you think about it? Do you think it's going? Do you think it's staying? Do you think that it'll be up to the very end and they'll extend it? Or do you think that it's bye-bye on the 19th? Either way, there's a lot of feeling about it. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are concerned. They're worried. They're posting their platforms on different platforms. Are they going to Neptune? Are they going to different things? We don't know. We don't know what they're going to decide. However, if this has taught us anything, it's to what we've been told a million times that's coming to fruition again, is not to put your eggs all in one basket. I can say that TikTok is my biggest following. I've worked very hard for my almost 20,000 followers. There's some people that can get on there, post 10 TikToks, and they make 1 million followers within a year. I've worked almost consecutively for 3 years to get a 20,000 following TikTok, and I'm super proud of it. I put a lot of hard work into it, so I hope and pray it stays. I use it as a form of monetization for my family, as I know a bunch of people do. So there's pros and cons to it. I get it on both ways, both sides. However, there's a lot of people that depend on their way of life on that app. So is it going to stay? Is it going to go? I don't know. But like I said before, people have told us, do not put all your eggs in one basket. This is just a prime example. If you are a creator, I've had creators tell me, hey, I've tried other platforms and I have gotten near as much growth or not near as much monetization as I'm getting on TikTok. I agree. Facebook has ramped up a little bit for me. However, TikTok has been a good resource, a good outlet. It's a lot of fun, but I think we also have been very dependent on it. Sometimes we find ourselves scrolling too much on it. So it kind of makes you want to step back and be like, okay, what's a good healthy boundary? Am I setting a good healthy boundary with not being on there so much? And how can I expand to other platforms where you're not just stuck on one? So it's kind of got me shifting to be like doing more on YouTube, which I should be doing a long time ago, and I would have a lot more following. Instagram. I told somebody not too long ago, when I first started Instagram, I was barely doing anything on there. You can go back and look at my old posts. It was completely crazy out there. And then I started posting more. I'm like, I'm going to make it a thing when I go to a networking thing, or I go to an influencer thing, to not only give them my TikTok, but to also give them my Instagram and to push that content out there as well. Sure enough, I did that, and I ended up growing from 300 to almost 1,500 within a 6-month time span because I chose to do that. Now, I get it. I know there's a lot of people growing a lot faster on platforms, but I wasn't doing anything, and I chose to start doing more, and that kind of grew. I know YouTube will be the same. I know Facebook has kind of always been kind of like the family thing. Like TikTok, I feel like you can go and be a little bit more crazy or not get judged as much because it's fun and everybody's kind of acting silly and like doing voiceovers and stuff. So it's kind of like a therapeutic outlet for a bunch of people. But Facebook, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should post that on there. But I'm not really caring as much. I'm learning to just lean in, and if people are not paying my bills and they don't like you, then just let them go. So if anything, this has taught me, and I hope it's taught you as well, if you're concerned, is to not put all your eggs in one basket. Lean into the other platforms. There's some new platforms on there rising. When look at it as like a cool opportunity, because there's some people, I would consider myself a micro influencer still. And this gives you an opportunity, if there's a new app, to grow, to be consistent now that you've learned how to do all of that, and possibly grow into a mega influencer on these new apps. It's a new opportunity, a new thing. If it stays, great. But let this be a lesson to be on other platforms. I think that we get so tied in all of our eggs in one basket. I say that a lot because that's what's going on, is that we just kind of stay stunned in our growth and we don't pursue other things and other outlets and other avenues. So I'm anxious to hear what you think. I'm anxious to hear what you think is going to happen. Are you pushing other outlets, as we all should be doing? And are you, some of you might be listening, you're like, I hate TikTok, I'm not even on there. But do you think it's going to go? And if you do think it's going to go, where are you going? Besides your other outlets like your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, what are some new outlets that you're hitting that you think are going to grow? Like, I'm anxious to hear, like, your feedback on that, like, what you think. So, today, like I said, is short, but it's being consistent. But we talk about things that are going on in the world, things that are hit. I think last time we talked about the old man that poo-pooed down a drone, or Dior bag, whatever. That was, I hate that it happened, but it was hilarious to me. If you go back and watch that video, it happened back in November, but I don't know why I just found it. I think the algorithms are kind of wonky right now. And, this one's talking about, the news of our current social media, essentially like our freedom of speech. So I'm anxious to hear what you think. And I can't wait for you to actually be a part of our next guest. Me and Travis, if you don't know who Travis is, if you don't follow any of my other platforms, he's my fiance. We're actually getting married soon. And one of the things that we did on New Year's, we sat down and we wrote down like our word for 2025, our blessings from 2024, and where our manifestations and where we want to go in 2025. And we each had our own notebook and we wrote down things. Some of our things are very similar, which is great. If you're in a relationship, you want to make sure you're in line. But then another thing, it was so cool because we need to lean into things that we had started. Like we had started this, we actually have a TikTok channel called That Couple. And we don't post on it as near as much as we should. But it's basically just us being silly. Some of it is like us in everyday life just being silly and we capture it. And then some of it is like us doing like a trendy song or whatever. And then we were going to do a podcast and have it That Couple with us. And we did one. And it went really good. And then we just got busy. And we're like, oh, well, we'll do this later. And it's been on the back burner. And we both have the desire and we both understand that it's important for us to do it. But again, life gets in the way. Well, in 2025, we're leaning in on making certain that we're hitting the things that we said we're going to do in 24 and 23, and that we're going to lean in and broaden ourselves. So like right now, I'm doing this, and he's in there editing videos from his Everyday Joe show. Shout out to them, give them a follow. And it's important that you don't break promises to yourself or each other. And especially things that we had envisioned over a year ago for That Couple. Like we started that, I think our first episode and only episode was last May. Even though I've sat in on his podcast, he sat on my podcast. This is something we wanted to do together. And it was a good vision. We're going to stick to that. So look for that to happen. Still trying to figure out our platform when we do it, because the last time we posted on the Everyday Joe page, we don't know if we're going to keep it on that page as kind of like an extension, or if we're going to have our own page with that. The thing is, you have to get so many followers on YouTube before you can go live, and that's one of the things with his Everyday Joe show. He's also on radio, so he's already got that established, so we're trying to figure the kinks out there. And I talk with my hands. I don't think I can ever not talk with my hands. I think I could not speak if I could not talk with my hands, so that's a thing. One of the things that we are going to lean into is making sure that we are consistent. And even when you don't feel like it sometimes, when you set your goals and you set what you want to do and what you feel like you're called to do, it's about consistency. And that sometimes is showing up and keeping the promise to yourself and others that you committed and that we wrote down in our notebook. And that's important to us. So, yeah, I had to pause that because I had a kid coming in. Like I said, it's just leaning in and just starting and knowing it's not going to be perfect, but just doing. And it's not too early. If you haven't done that yet, like I said, we wrote a notebook. It's not too late to do that. You can grab a notebook. You don't have to have a partner to do this. You can grab a notebook or a piece of paper, grab a napkin, whatever you have. Just start somewhere and write down your blessings. I always think it's important to write down what you're thankful for. Like when I pray, if you're a spiritual person, start off thinking, be thankful, have a thankful heart. What are you thankful for? What was the wins in 2024 that you were thankful for? It's still early January. It's not too late to do this. If you missed it on the 1st, you can still do it now. What are you, what's your word for 2025? Think about this. It doesn't have to be, just ask, just be quiet, put some meditation music on and really think like, what is my word for 2025? It'll come to you. You'll know it. Write it down. And then lastly, it is, where do you see yourself in 2025? Like, think big. Do those big, hairy dreams. Be realistic, but think big, and hold yourself to it. Write it down. And then you're going to have this same book. Mine says goals, and I got it at the Dollar Tree. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to write a big notebook. I got it at the Dollar Tree, and it said goals, okay? And it's bright green, so I can't lose it. And I've got down my thankfulness for 2024, my word, and what I'm leaning into in 2025, and what I want for my family, my personal goals, what I want for my work goals. And I'm really going to try to hit as much of those as I can. Now, give yourself grace and leniency, but show up and start. And it starts by creating a vision and seeing it and manifesting it and putting it into words. Like this right here might sound silly to some people, but it's a vision that I had that I'm putting in fruition. And so if I'm the only person that goes back and watches it, that's great. If 2 people go and watch it and they laugh, it's funny, they share it to somebody, that's great. If millions see it, that's great. I'm doing it because I wanted to do this, and I'm doing this. I wanted to do Unstoppable, and I'm doing Unstoppable, and we're helping women, and we're helping single moms. Like, it started with a vision, and if I didn't lean in and say yes to that, we would not have helped the moms that we've helped. We've helped 2 Christmases now, moms. We've helped women go and dress for success days, for work clothes and things like that, back to school stuff. And if we didn't lean in and say yes, if I didn't lean in and say yes to a vision that I had, it never would have happened. So stop procrastinating. You're worth it. You're not always going to feel like it. Get up and do it. And put some makeup on, put a hat on. If you're a guy, just put a hat on and go. If you're a girl, I love a good hat, put a hat on and go. Shout out to Brim Reapers for the hat. I love doing collabs with them. I give credit where it's due, but just start somewhere. So I hope you enjoyed this second episode. Like I said, it's going to be a fun ride. We have a lot of different platforms. We have the Everyday Joe Show. We have Unstoppable going on, where we give back to the working single mom, where we do retreats and things like that. So philanthropy side and monetization side, where we actually speak at events and do retreats and things like that. And then there's excuse me, I'm about to yawn. Then we have this Mirror Talks, which is just some fun spinoff that I wanted to do. We have all the other platforms that we're on. We have That Couple. We're everywhere, and you should be everywhere. And nobody's going to hear about it if you don't take the idea out of here and put it out to people. And who cares what they say? One time I heard somebody say this, and I'll give credit where it's due as well. Brad Lee, he says this, and him and his wife, I think a lot of them, and he's very real. And he said, you got to be your authentic self to find your people. Because if you don't find your people the first time that they don't agree with you, if you give a washed up version of yourself, you're always editing yourself, if you're not being fully, truly who you are, you're never going to find your people. And the first time that you do something wrong, they're out the door. You've lost them. But if you find your real people and be you, you may lose some naysayers along the way. You may have some haters, but you're going to have your core true people. They're going to be there and be in your corner no matter what. So think about that. Give him a follow. I know he's got a ton more following than I do. But he says a lot of good wisdom. So like him or not, he says the truth and he says a lot of good wisdom. So give him a follow. Shout out Brad for that. So anyways, a lot going on, a lot coming up in 2025. Again, thanks for being here. Thanks for following us. Thanks for liking. If you think a friend will like it, share it, because that's how we get the word out to people. And lean in. You're worth it. And we'll see you next episode. Have a good one.